Hey everybody, Fifth Horseman here, playing more Kerbal Space Program, and we are starting a new era. Let's go in the VAB here. We are starting the era where we scan for Kethane. We're going to start actually utilizing the resources, or the resource, that our universe has to offer. We're going to be doing that with the Kethane Survey Unit, and I did a couple tests with this thing, and it looks like all I need is really 2 of these things, and 2 of these things on the probe will be perfectly fine. And I'm going to over-engineer this a little bit, because this probe, I'm going to send it to the moon, and then once I get the moon mapped to my satisfaction, I'm going to send the same probe to Minmus. The reason I'm not going to send 2 probes is you have to have the probe in focus the entire time you're using it. Otherwise, you can't... Otherwise, it doesn't scan. So there's no sense sending 2 probes, because while I'm at Minmus, the probe around probe around Moon wouldn't be scanning, and while I'm around Moon, the probe around Minmus wouldn't be scanning. I'm going to over-engineer my... Let's see, actually. My ship a little bit, and I'm going to use the stock launcher that I used for my 5 Moon probe. Which should leave me with so much more fuel than I will ever need. Yeah. So I'm gonna take these off here. Whoop. Oh, that's right. This is the core, isn't it? Well, I'll fiddle, and I will be back with an actual ship in a moment. Okay, we're back. I've got my ship all set here. It's basically the same ship that I sent those probes to the moon from the bottom up. And then we've got... Oh, see, the game crashed, and I thought I had saved this ship first, but I apparently did not. It needs a decent amount of solar power to function. So I'm going to add these solar panels here pretty quick. We need 8... I think I calculated we need 4 to 8 of these per thing. So I figure if I do this, then no matter where the sun is, I'm always going to have 16 of these things illuminated. That's the idea. So anyway, so these are the Kethane scanners. They will scan for Kethane. These will power the Kethane, and this is what's going to get me most of the way to the moon, and then from the moon to Minmus. The rest of this is to get off Kerbal, and this will actually get us on the way to the moon. I am hoping that I can aim this at the moon and crash into the moon with this. I'm guessing not. I'm guessing this is going to be more space junk. And we'll have an episode where we take care of that. But let's go ahead and save this bad boy and head out to the launch pad. Okay, and you've seen many a launch before by me, so I'm not going to bore you with all the details. We're going to go 3, 2, 1, launch. And as this is a very similar ship to the other one, it's going to launch in a very similar way, and then it's going to get up into the 90s. It's going to slow down without any... Without any help from me, it will go over 100%, so I'll just watch that in a second here. It's obviously a little bit lighter than the other one, so it's going to take a little bit more finesse, but not a big deal. This is one of the last launches you're going to see. As long as I'm not launching something new and crazy, I'm not going to bore you with the launch details. I'm also going to be doing that with landings eventually, but landings are still kind of exciting to watch. Oops, we're over 100%. And this is also the last kind of mission-based thing we're going to be doing. And this mission is going to be over when we get to a stable orbit. The next mission we're going to do is going to be a launch, probably to Jewel, because that's our next transfer window. And that's 32 days away. And that's going to be 32 days of Kethane scanning away. So, so the actual mission parts are going to be a little bit weird from now on. And you know what, being 32 days away, we might actually start a Kethane refinery before we do that. Let's go ahead and start a gravity turn. And also crank our engines all the way up. But, because now, as we're doing things that are more long-term, what a mission is kind of hard to define. So, I am going to actually now be unlocking tech trees whenever I just feel I've accomplished something. Like once I get this thing in orbit and I've found all the Kethane deposits, I'm going to feel justified unlocking a tech tree. Same thing with Minmus. Once I do that, I'll feel justified unlocking a tech tree. If I get my Kethane base set up and it's actually working, that'll justify unlocking a tech tree. If I make it to Duna with my probe, that's a tech tree. But these things aren't going to be happening on a per episode basis. I'm going to eventually have multiple things going at the same time is the way this works. And I stage my... Get out of the way of those things. There we go. I was carrying those up while I was talking to you, but we should have plenty of fuel, so I'm not that concerned. But yeah, so that's kind of the way this thing's going to work. And there's no there's no way around it. It's just this is the end of the mission-based time frame that we're going to have, and it's actually a kind of an exciting time because we've got new things going on, which is always fun. But so we're gonna speed up a bit. We're gonna get up to our apoapsis. We're a minute and a half away. We've probably got about a minute burn, so it's not that much time. So tell you what, let's just ride this out together here as I speed up. We're actually not even out of the atmosphere yet, so I'm doing physics warps. Let's go ahead and get up above this. We'll go down to about 30 seconds, and then I'm gonna crank up the engine again here. Going up, that's not a big deal because we're about to lose these engines here. As long as it doesn't get too crazy. It's still going up, so I'm actually going to cut the engines again because we're beating our apoapsis, which is fine. We don't want to chase it too far away. But yeah, and we will eventually be having Kerbins up in space again. Don't worry about that. Kerbins are going to be the main. We're going to have people working each Kethane factory and running the tugs and stuff because you need to have actual people running those things so you can get out and repair something or you know attach one of the attachment system nodes or whatever. So, but just these first couple things where we're scanning for Kethane and things like that, we've got to do these probes because they're super long term. I don't want to put my Kerbals in super long term space. That's just, I mean, they obviously really like being in space, at least Jeb does. But I don't like the idea of sending one guy up for a 1 year long mission or something like that. It's got to be at least 2 or 3 people if they're going to be gone more than, say, a week or 2. Okay, we're just 3 seconds from apoapsis, and there we go, 90 by 84. That is perfectly fine by me. That is a good orbit. So we're going to map mode. Oh, I've got Kethane turned on. Got the Kethane overlay turned on. That slows down everything in the game. There's Moon. Let's see where it is as far as this is concerned. We're going to be right around here when we make our burn. Hopefully we won't be out of electric charge. We have very little electric charge. We might have to do a couple orbits to... Yeah, because we basically have to be in the sun when we do our burn. So we might have to do a couple orbits before we get there, because this is never going to do it. I mean, we could scrub this and do Minmus first. Minmus is a better target for a Kethane thing. Tell you what, in the interests of time, let's go to Minmus first. And look at that, we've already got an encounter with it. It was meant to be, says the guy who screwed up his... Yeah, you know what we could do? Tell you what, let's do. We've got to do all the burns anyway to get slowed down for Moon, so we might as well do it while we're in orbit. So right before sunset, or maybe right at sunrise. Let's do it right at sunrise. And I lost my maneuver node. Right at sunrise, let's do a maneuver. Here's my thinking. We don't even need the node for this. This is the way I'm going to be getting to Duna eventually. So I might as well do this now. So right at sunrise, And I'm doing that just so I'm on the opposite side so that I have less time to wait when the time comes. And I don't even know if that's viable. Let's get our ship aimed in the right direction. I love having these shadows on the nav ball so I know exactly where things are. That's the enhanced nav ball mod. There's a link in the notes for this YouTube video to a forum post where I list all the mods I use. I wholeheartedly recommend any mods you see that you like, especially these clouds. Look at these clouds. And this isn't even the newest version of this thing. And I should say, actually, let's go ahead and go into speed mode here. Actually, let's get maneuver node alarm 30 seconds. So let's actually go to 30 seconds before. Let's turn this off, speed up time a little bit. Whoa, crazy time. And as I'm recording here, it is October 30th. You're probably watching this sometime deep in November because I am way ahead of the game. Look at that. I'm way ahead of the game as far as recording goes. It's just the way it's going to be working. I'm building up a backlog on purpose because as we do these missions, I'm going to be doing a lot of stuff that you're not going to want to see, like mining for Kethane and running fuel up and down. I'll show you the first time I run fuel up and down from my mining depot to my orbital station, my orbital refueling station. I'll show you the first time just to show you how I do it, but you don't need to see it because I'm going to be doing it, probably a dozen times or so for a massive interplanetary mission. Like if I'm going to send a huge mothership to Joule, that's going to take a lot of fuel, and I'm going to be getting that fuel mostly from Minmus. And it's gonna take multiple trips, and there's no sense showing you that. So I could be playing this game for days where I don't have anything to record. So I'm going to slowly catch up on myself. So I'm just building this backlog so that I can consistently get videos out to you guys. Let's go ahead and speed up time more. The sun has risen. That means we're nearing our maneuver node. Let's go ahead and get in our direction here. Let's get actually aimed at our maneuver node. We don't have to be exactly at it, but I'm going to. And 17 is double 44. So let's go ahead and burn away here. Just keeping myself on the blue as usual. And I totally forgot about these engines. I might be able to justify... They're not going to make one down. And there we go. Oops, I screwed up. Probably not a big deal. Yeah, it's a big enough deal to care. I'm going to slow down just a little bit. Whoa. Just to get our orbit touching the moon's orbit. Okay. Now we're going to set the moon as a target. And then at our node here, I don't know what is going on with this, so let's go ahead and do that. At our descending node, we are going to burn up just a little bit. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. There we go. We're going to do that so that we're in the perfect orbit as far as lunar insertion is concerned. It sucks that I'm sending more and more space debris out into space, but there's not much you can do about it. Well, there is. You can plan better, but that's no fun. So let's go ahead and add a maneuver node for this. We're just a 1 second alert because it's a 1 second burn. Let's go ahead and watch ourselves. Leave Kerbin's sphere of influence here. We could have done some Kethane scanning around Kerbin, but I'm never going to mine Kethane there. Maybe if there's some right at the Space Center, but that's an easy thing to scan for. Okay, let's go ahead and close the alarm, and I'm just going to hit the gas as soon as I do that. Okay, pretty much good. We should have a 0. We have 0. Okay. Now, See, here's our closest approach. See, and actually, you know what? I want to slow down a little bit too, because I want my closest approach to just touch the apoapsis of this thing. There we go. Now, when we get here, the moon's going to be here, which is obviously no good. And it's possible that actually we'll just do one loop and then come back out and have the moon be there, because if the moon's here when we're here, see, the moon's here and we're here. The moon is here, we're here. When we get to here, which is half of one of our orbits away, the moon's going to be here. When we get back to here, it's going to be half. The moon's going to be about here. So we actually might be really close. But I'm still going to obviously pay attention to what's going on here. So let's go ahead and add an apoapsis node. There we go. For moon, which yeah, in 7 hours we'll be roughly there. Yeah, that's right. So let's go into pretty mode here. God, look at those clouds. They're just amazing. Still a little bit of flicker. But like I said, this isn't even the newest version of this mod as I'm recording, and it's been a month, give or take, since I recorded this. So he's in Alpha 10 right now, and I think I'm looking at Alpha 8. And Alpha 9 maybe. And by the time you're reading this, he's probably going to be in beta, if not released. So we're cruising away from Kerbin, nearing our apoapsis here. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to close the alarm, we're going to go back to map mode, and then we're just going to wait for us to pass this approach marker. And when we do, it's going to recalculate where the moon's going to be. And any second now. Okay, I'm speeding up time. I don't want to wait. Okay, and here's our next closest approach, and the moon is going to be here, so it's actually going to pass us. So that's no good. So we want to slow up our orbit, which is impossible. So instead, we're going to speed up our orbit. And what this is going to do is this is going to make this go around the thing. We're basically going to do an entire orbit of Kerbin. And catch up to the moon. And it looks like we're actually wasting fuel here. I screwed this up. I'm man enough to admit I totally boned this one. I should have just let it go. But let's keep going. We've got plenty of fuel. Okay, you know what? That's crazy, but I'm going to take it. We don't have a periapsis there. I can't believe I screwed up that bad. There's our periapsis. Okay. Done and done. This is not the way I intended on doing this. And when we get to here, I'm gonna set myself up in a polar orbit. So let's keep going. Scott Manley, I am not. Okay, close alarm. Let's take a look here. Actually, I want the map mode. Now, we're going to be looping around here. So what I want to do is I want to bring my periapsis up over the North Pole. Which means I'm going to have to... Yeah, see, for some reason, clicking on... This is impossible to do. Oh, there we go. Add a maneuver. Let's see if I can now drag this maneuver around. Yes, I can. Okay, sweet. So I want to come in a little, and I want to go up a little. And in a little, and up a little. And I'm just bringing my periapsis up over the North Pole. And I want it also, once I get the aim right, It's going to be a little bit more. Yeah, see, this thing gets really crazy. Actually, that's pretty good. See if I can get it. Maybe this will do it. I'm basically just playing with it until I get a nice, yeah. Yeah, when you do crazy things like this, the maneuver nodes don't actually do what you think they should do. Let's go ahead and speed up a bit. Yeah, see how everything's twisting around? I should have left it the way it was. It was actually pretty good. It's just crazy. I think what I'm going to have to do here is, yeah, get this nice polar. There, that's perfectly polar. We're just going to do this burn, and then we'll do the actual orbital insertion burn here. So, we've got an hour. Let's go ahead and add an alarm. It's 8 seconds away, so let's just do 10. And crank up time. We won't bother going into pretty mode. And it really doesn't matter when we do this, but we'll just do it now. I'm just burning towards the marker here on faith that it's right. That works for me. That's perfectly fine. Okay, now at periapsis here, I'm going to slow myself down, and I want to be just over 10 kilometers away. Because at 10 kilometers, that's where you can't go more than 50 times. We'll go like 11. It's also above all the terrain. And the closer you are to the moon, the faster you go. That's important. We want to be going as fast as possible at 50 times speed with our double-barreled scanners here to scan the surface as quickly as possible. Now we'll definitely go into pretty mode here. This is a 7-second burn, so let's go 20 seconds before, give us time to do something. We'll get ourselves aimed at our maneuver node indicator here on the nav ball. We'll go into pretty mode, and actually, I see a screenshot here. Oop, there we go. Now let's get the ship back on and head on in. I'm a little concerned about the fact that we're in the dark. I hadn't thought of that. I'm going to watch my electric charge here. I can pretty much do this burn at any time, but looks like we'll be fine. Yeah, we'll be fine. Nice thing about a polar orbit is you can set it up, at least, so that you're not behind the moon very often. Okay, I forgot it. I forgot I had an alarm set. Yeah, well, yeah, we're fine as far as this is concerned. So we'll go down to about 5 seconds, and then I will crank up the speed here. And now. And I'm not going to bother with the maneuver node now. I'm going to touch this up manually. 25 is too much. 22, 21, 20. Just get like to 11. It'd be perfect. Oh, it's a little too close for my comfort. I want some wiggle room. There we go. Basically 11. Okay, one more final maneuver, and then we can start our scan here. I could turn the scanners on now, but I'm not going to, just because I don't want to. Let's go ahead and get our periapsis here and our apoapsis here. We want it to be 10 by 10. Now, all this stuff going on. Get this nav ball out of the way. Okay, so we need to be centered as close as possible onto this. We need a little more speed. 10 by 11. Let's zoom in even more. That's basically perfect. 11 by 11. It's within 100 meters of 11 by 11 kilometers. And that is an 18-second burn, which will be fun to make. And it's in the same direction we're headed. So, let's go ahead and add our marker. 18 seconds. Let's go ahead and just make it 30 seconds before. And let's watch the show, shall we? I'm going to crank it up as fast as possible. Whoa, that was actually a lot faster than I thought it would be. But this is the view we're going to have most of the time while we're scanning. Except for it'll actually have drawn everything. Okay, so 18 seconds. We want to start at about 10. We want to burn very close to exactly what the nav ball says to do. And I want to also watch everything. Oh. Whew. 13, 12, 11, 10. Okay. I think I'm screwed up this. I did. Yeah, it's really hard to get a far-flung... Okay, I'm gonna kill this maneuver node. I'm just gonna fiddle with the orbit here. Get this back up above 10. Okay. Now this one. Yeah, it's hard to do it with a maneuver that's longer than almost anything. Okay, 10 by 10. Okay, we're going to do that. So let's get our maneuver node up here. I'm not going to bother setting an alarm for it. Should be easier to do it with a 3.5 second. Because we basically get down to about a second, and then we can do it with little touches. Whoa. It's hard to ride the train here to... The balance between speeding up and slowing down, and getting there on time and not passing it. Okay. Okay, that can't be. It's got to be good now. 10-3 and 10-4. Okay, it's less than I wanted, but it's perfectly fine. Okay, here's what we're gonna do now. We are gonna turn on our Kethane scanners, and you heard that beep? That's the magic of Kethane scanning. And if we bring up the map now, you'll see it's already found some Kethane. The very first thing we scanned found Kethane, which is awesome. Kind of a hilly, bumpy region. Not sure I want to be landing a lander here, but hopefully somewhere in the nearby area, like say in the middle of one of these 3 craters or in the middle of this crater, there'll be a nice flat spot. I can bring a rig down there and start drilling and mining Kethane. So that's the idea. But that's only one of the ideas. See, we're also scanning. We found no Kethane in these places here. So that's actually it. We're not going to be able to scan on the dark side of the moon, but as the year goes by, the sun will be changing, and we'll occasionally be able to do that. And at 50 times, things will go pretty well. So if I hit F2 to turn everything off, we can actually bring this up. There's Earth, or Kerbal, sorry. And then we can crank up speed to 50 times. And you hear all those beeps where it's not finding anything. And then you'll eventually hear the beeps stop. Because we're on the dark side. There. Now he's not scanning. And then he's going to slowly go around. And then the sun is going to eventually rise. And you will hear the magical beeps again. And there they go. And that's Kethane scanning. Oh, we just found a little deposit there. That's nice. That's actually what's going to be happening for the next 30 days in-game. Unless I... Oh, wow, that's a big deposit. That's all that's going to happen. And when Moon gets mapped to my satisfaction, I'm going to send this guy to Minmus and do the same thing. So that ends this episode. This is what I'm going to consider, though, a successful mission. So when the time comes to launch something new, I'm going to feel justified in unlocking another tech tree node. Probably the one with fuel lines, because I've been wanting that for so long. But I'm just going to let this run on my computer. I'm not going to bore you with the details. I'm not even going to bore myself with the details. I'm going to go do something else while this thing scans. And I hope you've enjoyed this. I'm Fifth Horseman. This is our first successful yet ongoing mission. But I'm Fifth Horseman, and I will, as usual, talk at you later.